Hi, I'm Erik Linask here at Cloud Expo in New York, talking with Jonathan Bryce from Rackspace. Jonathan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So, what's the latest that you're seeing? Obviously, a lot of folks here talking about the cloud, particularly security in the cloud. What are the kind of things that you're seeing?
Yeah, well, we've been doing cloud services for about 4 years now. So we got in when they were pretty early, and really kind of ahead of, I think, a lot of the adoption. And what we're starting to see now is that it's not just small businesses, medium businesses that are using these technologies. Now it's really starting to get a foothold inside of enterprises and larger businesses as well. And I think the other thing that we're starting to see is people are starting to accept it as a real technology. It's no longer just kind of like a theoretical possibility that you can use these kinds of services anymore. And so I think that's a great development for us. We're super excited about that. But I think it's also good for the industry as a whole, because there really is real power in cloud technology.
What's driven that increased recognition and adoption of cloud technology?
I think there's an ecosystem that's starting to really take hold around cloud. So there's security vendors that enterprises are familiar with. There are certifications that are starting to come out for cloud technologies. Providers are getting SAS 70 certified for their cloud systems. And then I think also it's just time. People over time they start to get comfortable with new things, and we're 4 years into this, and soon to be 5. And I think once we get through that initial setup period, then people just start to get more comfortable with it.
So a lot of times on our side of the business, we tend to forget that we're really on that bleeding edge, and it takes a little while to get into the mainstream.
Yep.
How's Rackspace helping drive the market?
Well, we have been doing outsourced technology. Especially managed hosting is kind of our core business. We've been doing that for over a decade now. And when we started that, the paradigm that most enterprises operated in was they built their own data centers, they ran their own gear, or they co-loaded in someone else's data center and they still ran their own gear. So we've kind of been through this cycle once already, and it's finding good partners, it's finding good marquee customers, and this time around, we are a bigger player, and so we've also been able to help actually drive the technology and develop technology a lot more than we used to.
What's the role of open source for you guys?
Yeah, open source is a huge part of our business. Again, with managed hosting, when we started out, what we really specialized in was Linux hosting and all of the open source stacks that ran on top of Linux, whether it was a LAMP stack with PHP and MySQL or more of an enterprise Java stack with JBoss. And again, we're seeing open source take a leading role in cloud technologies. Zen is really the primary hypervisor that a lot of the biggest cloud providers use. We use Zen as well. But one of the areas that we think there's kind of been a gap is with database services. There's been MySQL, there's been Postgres, there have been other open source database systems that have been popular, but we call it the million user problem. Now you can go from 0 to 1 million users so fast, and it's a problem that 10 years ago really only eBay and Yahoo and Google and some of the largest websites on the world had to deal with. But now, because of Facebook and Twitter, you can start a company, and in a matter of days, you and your buddy can have 1 million users, can have 10 million users, and have just a massive amount of data that before there wasn't really a solution for. So we've really gotten involved with a couple of database projects. One is called Drizzle, drizzle.org. You can find out more information about it. And it's kind of a next generation of MySQL. And it was built by a lot of the guys who were on the core MySQL team. It's a relational database, but it's built to be a lightweight database in the cloud, especially focused on web applications. And there are a number of technical improvements that we've made with that make it perfect for that. And then you go even further and you look at companies like Facebook and Twitter and Dig. These people have terabytes of structured data that you just really can't manage inside of a standard relational database. Google built their own database system called Bigtable. Facebook built kind of something patterned after Bigtable. It's called Cassandra, and they open sourced it. And last year we got really heavily involved with the Cassandra project. And so it's a non-relational structured distributed database system. The biggest install of Cassandra that's out there right now, it's a production install. It runs on 160 servers. It has over 100 terabytes of structured data in it. So these are massive volumes. And again, this used to be just the domain of the top players in the internet world, and now it's something that anybody can run into. And so we think that this is going to be a big part of the move to cloud. Is also a change in some of the technologies that get used by technology companies.
Excellent. We're talking here at the Cloud Expo in New York with Jonathan Bryce from Rackspace. Jonathan, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks.